Have you been coming to 30A and vacationing out here maybe once or twice? Who knows, maybe you've been coming quite a few times and you're thinking maybe now is the time that we should just buy a place and start making money off of our own vacations as opposed to paying someone else for them. This is the video for you. I'm going to talk about all the pros and the cons of buying versus renting on 30A. I'm AJ BEDDOUK, your 30A realtor right here on 30A with the luxury division of the Emerald Group. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ding the bell so that you get notified every time I do another video. I do want to give a quick thank you to all of my previous viewers, my subscribers, and of course my new viewers. I'm really grateful that you're here. Let's jump into some numbers and what it looks like to purchase and then rent. Okay, so what are the numbers like? I feel like for most people, the numbers part is what the most important part is of considering whether to purchase or continue to just rent a property. So I'm just gonna go with one property for this. I'm gonna go with the absolute lowest budget from, what you would pay for a rental of a studio unit walking distance to the beach versus what you would pay and also make on the same unit. So we're kind of comparing apples to apples as opposed to, fruits to vegetables, right? And if you have any questions about specific numbers, then all of my contact information is on the screen and you can reach out to me for those specifically if you already have one in mind. If we're going with this scenario of a studio condo that's walking distance to the beach and maybe some small amenities, a pool, really just a pool for the most part, then you could spend as low as $100 a night for, we'll say, just one weekend. And you'd be looking at about $600 total spend, not your travel and such, but just for the room and all the fees and the cleaning, the taxes, all of that bit. You're looking at about $600 for just the weekend. So what would the numbers look like if you actually owned that unit? For the same type of unit, you could spend as low as $430,000 for the unit itself. Your HOA fees are going to be about $535 per month. And that's going to include all of your utilities as well, except for your electric bill, which is going to be about $65 per month. While some folks would pay cash for this, we're going to go off of this, 20% down scenario, since that's about the minimum that you're going to pay for an investment property. And it's also the best number to put down so that you can avoid any PMI. You don't want any additional fees that aren't going to go towards anything and just eat into your profit, right? So we're going to say you put down 20%. If we wrap your HOA fees and your $65 into your monthly payment, you're looking at about close to $3,500 per month. So that's everything, $3,500 per month after you've put down 20%. Obviously, that monthly number is going to change if you put down more or less. But for easy numbers, we're just going to go with this. For this type of unit, you're looking at about $40,000 for rental projections. That's not including the 25% that you're going to want to take off for your management fee. 25% is pretty average around here for what you're going to pay for a full service property management company if you're doing short-term rentals. So knock $10,000 off of that and you're at about $30,000 for the year as far as your rental income. Now you would have paid about $41,000 towards your mortgage and everything else. So you're looking at a little bit of a gap there. If we're looking at just these numbers, you're probably thinking, well, that looks like it's not that great of a deal at all versus spending, $600 once or twice, a year, or maybe a little bit more than those numbers. They're not as beneficial. Plus I had the 20% down, but still considering the numbers, then consider that all of that $30,000 could be dumped into your mortgage. So you'd be paying down your mortgage, thus increasing your equity, in that downward side, but also properties naturally increase by about 4% per year on the national average. So it's also increasing on that end. So someone is paying the majority of your mortgage and your property is increasing in value by 4%. So that kind of makes the numbers a little bit better and puts it towards kind of like a savings account, if you will, savings account that you get to go vacation at. If you're used to booking a larger property and you'd like me to run those numbers for you, all of my contact information is on the screen. You can call, text, email, Facebook message, however you prefer to get in contact with me is totally fine. I absolutely love helping y'all, and it will be me that is helping you whenever you call. You're not going to get a random person. I don't create the video and then step out. It'll be me that you're talking with. So if you feel like you already know me, then that's perfect. I love working with folks that have watched the videos and like, oh my gosh, I feel like I already know you. Well, I love that because that tells me we're already going to get along famously, and it just makes a much better work environment. If I can't get to you right then and there, my assistant will take down all of your information, and typically I can get back to people within 24 hours. All right, so we've talked about the numbers portion. Let's talk about the actual livability portion, right? Because not everything is surrounded by financial, aspects we'll go with. Some of it is the actual feel, the actual lifestyle, the energy, we live these lives. So let's talk about the pros and the cons of strictly renting when you come down to visit. Some of the most obvious pros to renting every time is that you get to pick a different place every single time. Whether it's a different condo or house in the same area, maybe you're just really fond of Inlet Beach, but you like to try the different houses because they all have different styles and things of that nature. Some of them have pools and some of them don't, maybe you just like the different aesthetics or checking out what the new builds are doing these days, or maybe you like to try out just different locations along 38 because there are so many different personalities, ranging from Grayton Beach and then to Seaside or Alice Beach or Rosemary Beach. All of them, the personalities are completely different, and maybe you haven't tried them all yet. You want to do that first before deciding on some place to settle down. That's absolutely understandable. So those are some of the pros. Also, another pro is maybe sometimes you like to vacation with other people, or maybe you're a couple and you like to vacation by yourself, but then sometimes you kind of want to bring the kids. Then you would obviously want to book different types of properties or different size properties. So if it was just you and your partner, then you just come down and book a studio. But then if you wanted to bring maybe another couple, some friends, or your parents, or the whole family wants to have a get together, obviously you're probably going to book something a little bit bigger. I don't think everyone would be super comfortable in a studio. It doesn't matter how many pull-out couches you put in there. So that's another obvious benefit to renting every time, is different sizes, different locations. Another pro to renting is that you don't actually own the condo or house, so you don't have to worry about the fees or, HOA fees going up or potential special assessments. If you've never been a part of an HOA and you're not really familiar with what a special assessment is, it's essentially a fee that goes above and beyond your standard HOA monthly fee, or however it breaks down, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually. A lot of them are different. Your special assessment is going to come in when a big repair needs to be done that wasn't projected for. Maybe there was an accident or there was a hurricane, something pretty significant that did quite a bit of damage. Or maybe there's an upgrade that everybody wants to get, everybody decides, hey, you know what, let's put in a dock with multiple boat slips where each owner has their own slip. And that wasn't projected for in the HOA fees. There would be a special assessment that would be above and beyond that fee, and it would be temporary. So that's something you don't have to worry about, obviously, if you're just renting. Another thing you don't have to worry about when renting is the actual management and maintenance of the property. You don't have to worry about the state of the unit or property, has it been well taken care of, or bookings, it's just not something that you have to deal with. You just get to show up, enjoy your time, and then leave. The negatives of renting are kind of the same thing as the pros, really. You're likely not going to be in the same property every single time. So if you kind of really love a specific area or a specific unit, and you're like, I just want to stay here every time, it's perfect for us, it's the right price, it's the right size, it's the right location to the beach, it could be pretty difficult to make sure that you get that spot every single time. There's also the potential that your visit gets canceled through no fault of your own. It could just happen, maybe maybe the owners decide to sell it, in the middle of you trying to take your vacation. Like, absolutely, they're not supposed to do that. And you would get your refund for your trip. However, your trip would then be canceled and you'd have to scramble to go and find another location to stay, and it may or may not be as nice or possible. There's also the question of how far in advance would you need to book it. If you're someone like me that doesn't really book things all that far in advance, and maybe, people just invite you to things and you're like, oh yeah, I would love to go and do this with you, let me find something online. If that's the case, then especially in our area, it can be very difficult to find something kind of last minute. So that would be another negative. And then there's, of course, the obvious financial aspect of renting that, if you're renting, you're paying someone else's mortgage instead of having other people pay for your mortgage. So you're filling up someone else's savings account. So what are the cons of owning a rental? I want to jump into the cons, of course, so I can save the pros for last. So the cons of owning a property and renting it out are, well, now it's your responsibility, right? So even when you hire someone else to take care of something, there's still, you are the owner. It's still a business, essentially. So that is still something that weighs on your mind. It's just like stocks. You might have a financial advisor that's going to move things for you, but ultimately it is still you making the decisions about what's going to happen with your investment. Just like we talked about the special assessments earlier, I'm bringing that up again because that would be a con to owning, is that you never know when a special assessment is going to hit, or maybe somebody gets hurt on the premises and then there's some litigation going on. These are things that can and do happen. Sometimes people get hurt, sometimes due to their own negligence, sometimes because there needs to be a change, and these could absolutely affect you financially if you're one of the owners of these properties that has an incident. So it's definitely something to consider whenever you're considering a property. If you have a property that you're interested in purchasing right now, definitely give me a call so that I can let you know if there's been a history of any type of accidents there, so that you know whether there's going to potentially be an issue in the future. So what are the benefits for owning a property for, investment purposes? So obviously at this point, you know that you're basically putting your money into a savings account, a tangible and physical savings account, which at the time of this shooting, we're in March of 2023, and there are some interesting things happening with some of the banks, and some folks are getting a little bit nervous about having, digital currency that are nervous about having their money in banks right now. And we're seeing quite a few people come and put their money into real estate to kind of safeguard that issue. Now, keep in mind, there are always going to be risks to any financial investment, whether it's with a bank or with real estate or with Bitcoin, digital currency. There are risks everywhere. You just have to decide which risks you're okay with. If you're the type of person that likes to maybe send your clients on vacations, or your friends and family, if you already own a property, it's a bit cheaper to just send them to your unit, and you can pick the days, maybe one that's not so much in the peak season that you're not losing so much profit during that time period, as opposed to sending them to a different unit that you would actually have to pay out of pocket for. You can also create generational wealth. If you're a little bit older and you would like to purchase something for yourself, but you would also like to have something there for your children or grandchildren in the future, this is something that you could do. You could put it into a trust, or just put their name on the deed so that they already own it. There's no probate or any issues like that you have to deal with to transfer the title over to them and not have to worry about huge tax implications. If you have any questions about that, again, my contact information is on the screen. Because of the constant equity that you would be gaining in a property out here, both from you paying the mortgage, or really someone else mostly paying it, and also the natural value increase happening, across the nation every year. If you ever found that the unit that you purchased just wasn't a perfect fit anymore, you could either do a cash out refinance or a HELOC and use that money to purchase another unit and continue to build up your, short-term rental empire. Or you could just sell it, use a 1031 exchange to defer that capital gains taxes, and purchase another property of similar or higher value and start using that one. So all of these things are great options that you have because you own it, as opposed to renting a unit. If you're not very familiar with 1031 exchanges and HELOCs or cash out refis or anything like that, and you're considering a unit on 30A, or you already have a unit on 30A and you're considering selling, go ahead and give me a call, text, email, Facebook message, however you prefer. All my information is on the screen, and I look forward to answering all of your questions. If you're still with me, you must have found some kind of value in this video. So don't forget, before you go, please hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up so that I can share this information with other folks and help them as well. I'll see you at the next one.